Okay, great news, folks. We went to the doctor, they cleaned out my ear, and now I can hear again. So we can sit here and talk about music. I did make a notable amount of progress. It looks probably like more progress than it really is, but we kind of have, I think, from the beginning of the piece through the drop, like, structured out. Definitely need a lot more stuff in here. This is not a fleshed out idea, but I think it gives us a roadmap. Yesterday we had this drop in here. We added some tonality to the last loop of the drop, and then but this is all new. So I'll just play it from the beginning here, and you can kind of hear what it sounds like. So I like the roadmap. It is the loops are a little bit much right now because there's just not a lot of details in here. Really, we kind of got the space laid down a little bit, but there's no nugget in here past like this point. I feel like all of this is kind of boring, so definitely need some more in there. And honestly, by like traditional drum and bass roadmaps, this is too much intro for our drop to come a full minute in here. Is a bit late. So we do need to make that a little extra 8 bars worth the time, but I do think it's the right spacing for this type of music for the drop to be here. But as far as what we actually have done so far, I was complaining yesterday about how the kick drum, or the snare drum sounded so kind of aggressive for the more hopeful sound we were going for now. And so I went and listened to some other drum and bass that I thought like was a good example, and the kick sounded the same. It was just much more higher in the register. So I just increased the cutoff to like 485 here, or 458 hertz. It was originally down around like 200. And if you just like look at this sound, especially if I turn this off, or especially if I bypass this, you see our fundamental for the snare is coming in like 250. So we're cutting out the real big meat of that sound, but I do think this is a better sound now for our drums. Kicks like here, and our snares like here, and our hi-hats are up here. So they each kind of like have their own little space there. It kind of like fits in well, and mainly just in the overall sound, I think. I think the snare is doing the job I want it to do and not doing anything more. We have not done like any sort of LFOing or sidechain compressing to get things out of the way right now. I need to go through and add those things, but I've just been trying to like make sure I really like where this piece is musically before I do that. But outside of that, I don't think we added anything else to the drop area. Everything else is what's going on over here. So this is obviously the same idea. That's that same sound we have here, but only just that first measure looped, and then with a that cutoff sweeping up through it there that you saw at first. And I'll probably compress that so it doesn't swell up in volume for so long, have it start a little bit higher with some compression. But I do really like the idea of that sound going straight into this bass up here. I really like this dropping into 4 sound. And I do really think that MIDI-wise, that little pickup here is so important. Like, if it just came in just boom, like right down there on 4, that wouldn't be very good. But this little, I think, adds so much. And just kind of, this I love doing basses this way, where you do these little like tiny ornaments between these long notes. Now I might come through and do a little bit more separation here as well, like just like on this note, like pull it here so you get these little articulations actually happening. Because otherwise the legato smooths it out. But this is a sound I really like. This like sustained ostinato, lots of motion with a bass that's just holding down these really long chords. And then we have sounds like this guy, which is just like wind, basically. Create a little bit of space, and then our guy 8-bit Echo Chug over here, which we've used through all of our chiptune music, doing just some little patty notes, and then combined with this air vent impact, which I thought was fascinating. This little very, very far in the back. It's not supposed to be something that you notice at all. It's just supposed to add a little bit of extra flavor. And I'm trying to do here is do the opposite of what I do in most of my pieces, and what I'm kind of doing here in the drop section of just having one pad really lock down these big power chords that just ring through the whole thing and take up a ton of space but aren't actually that interesting. I'm trying to instead layer a lot of small little things together to create a pad-like structure, but have it through multiple things that are all taking up kind of different little chunks of space and stuff like that. And it has to have a lot more texture to it. So yeah, it's like air vent impact and endgame stuff like that. These aren't supposed to be things that really stand out to you, but together they become greater than the sum of their parts. So I think we'll probably definitely add a little bit more texture in here. This endgame one right now kind of stands out a little bit too much. But I did forget, I didn't talk about the extra melody I added here for the basses. So again, the bass is kind of 2 layers, right, that form kind of a chord-like sound. And yeah, like the chords originally were operating kind of this 10th structure. You got the fundamental down here, and then up an octave is the 3rd. That's mostly what those 2 sounds are doing. But now I added a second instance of the higher sound, this one. And it's just going up a 6th from that, so it's mostly kind of like on the double octave of the fundamental subby bass there, but we'll sometimes deviate and become contrast emotion to create, like here where I think we actually have a full chord. Yeah, there's actually all 3 notes of the major triad there, so just create some actual melody in this bass line. Since it is a creation of my own invention, the bass is decently muddy right now. I feel like there's not a lot of like crisp clarity to its sound, and that kind of works, but also I would like it to be a little bit less like that. So maybe some multi-band compression on the overall bus. The bus for the basses could be good. I did watch some tutorials on multi-band compression. It's exactly what it sounds like it is. Why it's so good for EDM, I don't fully understand. Like when I'm in Vital and I've got this multi-band compression happening, like why does this make such a crazy difference here compared to normal compression? I think it has to do with like the gain and like bringing up certain sounds, you know, but I get what it does. I don't know why I care about what it does specifically with how it relates to EDM, and I want to understand that a little bit better. So yeah, that's the music we made for the day, and that's the things we've been learning. So that's all we had time for today. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.